Toni Braxton biopic. Oh, love Toni Braxton. Two iconic, legendary albums from her. First two albums. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton and Secrets. All the hits. Toni is truly an R&B icon, legend. She's up there with the Whitneys and the Mariahs and the Celines and the Janets and the Madonnas. That's her for sure. She's one of the most unique voices of our time. Unbreak my heart, oh darling. Without you, I just can't go. Oh, can't go. Oh, woo, yeah. If I never feel you in my arms again, if I never feel your tender kiss again, 7 whole days, not a word from you. It's just another sad love song wrecking my brain like crazy. Guess I'm all torn up. I just the I can go on and on. Um, Toni Braxton's music is legendary. It truly is. Just awesome, awesome. Just great vocals. Anyway, so starting this movie, a few familiar faces. We have Debbie Morgan. She was playing Miss Evelyn Braxton, their mama. Lex Scott Davis, who actually played Toni Braxton. Never heard of her. She's a pretty girl. Um, who else? We had Gavin Houston playing Babyface. That was the thickest Babyface I've ever seen. L.A. Reid, who played L.A. Reid, the guy, I don't know his name. I didn't feel like Googling him, but he's cute. Um, who else, guys, that was in the film that we noticed? I think that was it. I think it was all the people that we maybe, knew of. Maybe y'all knew the Lex girl who played Toni. I didn't know her. Anyway, the movie pretty much started off with Babyface and L.A. Reid. They're walking into the church where the girls are singing. We all know that the Braxton sisters grew up in the church. Toni being the oldest sister. And they were singing a gospel song, and Toni was at the piano playing the piano, and Toni's vocals more so stood out to them more so than the other sisters. Also, the other sisters was quite young, especially Tamar, who is 10 years younger than Toni, like 10 or 11 years. So she was up there, just a little thing up there singing, and they was originally the Braxton sisters, the group. So they, was talking amongst each other. LA and Babyface, it was just like, yo, I like her tone, talking about Tony's and this and that. Um, so then all of a sudden, we get to a scene where all the sisters and the brother Michael and all them leave, and Toni, she goes in her room. She turns on the radio. Now Toni used to sneak and listen to secular music, R&B music, or whatever, because Miss Evelyn and her father, they were strict Christians. Her father was a pastor, so they didn't believe in listening to that. So they wouldn't allow their children to listen to that. But Toni, being the oldest, she wanted to explore, and she liked what she liked. So anyway, while she was in her room listening to I don't know, Adina Howe, Freak Me or whatever. Um, she got a call from L.A. Reid, and he said, "Look, I basically just want to sign you and not your sisters." And so that was a real big deal because they was a group, and they're very family oriented. Oriented. Did I say that right? Oriented, whatever. But anyway, that ended up being a thing, and she said that it started her regret, because she had to pretty much leave her sisters behind. She was very much so torn with the idea. She brought it up to her family, Miss Evelyn. She was just like, "No, you're not gonna do this to your sisters. This is not right. This and that." Um, and so then she ended up just Tracy actually. She was like, "Look, um, I think that you should do this. It's opportunity of a lifetime." But Miss Evelyn was like, "Look, you have to make sure that you come back for your sisters and help your family out." And she was just like, "All right." So she pretty much get to LA. I think she actually got to LA in LA. And the first person we saw was Pebbles. I thought she was a white woman at first, so I looked a little closely, and I think she was just biracial, or maybe she was Latino, like actually Pebbles is. And so they was together at the time, and this and that, and she was just like, and they were talking, and she was just like, "Look, um, well, Tony was like, "Oh, I have a hotel room down the street or whatever." Pebble was like, "No, this is in your budget. We already got an apartment for you and this and that." That started the whole, bankruptcy thing in my head. The little ticky ticky boom. All the stuff that a label offers you is just pretty much a loan. You have to pay that shit back some kind of way. Um, so let's see. So they get to talking, and then they meet back up with Babyface. They instantly put Tony in the studio for a song that they was working on with Anita Baker, what ended up being "Love Should Have Brought You Home Last Night." Anita Baker couldn't do the song for whatever reason. I didn't actually know that information, but Toni Braxton really looked up to Anita Baker because she was a contralto, just like she was. And so anyway, Anita Baker couldn't do the song "Love Should Have Brought You Home Last Night." She was just like the girl in the demo, keep her. And so that turned into Tony's actual first single. So, and one of my favorite songs. Ooh, child, I'm not gonna get started on the singing. And so they ended up blowing up for her. She put out the album. She went like 4 times platinum. You know, just a really really dope. Cut to 1993. She went platinum, so she's buying the house, she's buying the car, she's buying all this expensive furniture and all this stuff. And so all that spending and spending and spending is really gonna catch up with her. She went back to her family. They're talking and helping her move in and etc. Going crazy about this big house she just bought. And Miss Evelyn noticed that she bought these big boobs. Which is also an investment. I didn't even realize Toni Braxton had a boob job. But she got these boobs, and there you go. All this is coins and up in the LaFace records. Also, what was interesting, I remember more so towards the beginning as to why LA them didn't want to sign another group. They used the excuse of they just signed a group to the label, and that group was TLC. I'm thinking, because TLC and Tony came out, around the same time, and it was both on LaFace Records with Babyface in LA. So yeah. It's very interesting information how this kind of ties into the TLC story a little bit. That was just that one small thing. The rest of it was Tony, but yeah. So, um, Tony is also she's starting to notice like certain things is going on with her health. She's starting to have certain pains, but she's really like ignoring it. Um, let's see. She also meets Carrie around this time. He's playing piano for her. Carrie was originally in the group Mint Condition, um, who I love. I love Mint Condition. And he was playing back piano for her and all that good stuff. Let's see. But in the meantime, she had to end up filing for bankruptcy because she couldn't afford. She was paying for everything out of pocket, but she didn't realize, like I said, everything was an investment. And she was having mint condition coming on, and all these people was playing, and she had to pay for everything. So and honestly, she spent so much money instead of saving her money. With the house and everything else. They even brought up in court that she had Gucci silverware. I didn't even know they had that shit. But she went on Oprah a long time ago, and they went down the whole thing. I'll post a link, at the bottom. I'm sure y'all know the whole story, so I'm not gonna get all into that. But yeah, but anyway, what pretty much saved her at court, I didn't know this part, was that while they was in court, the judge or the prosecutor or whoever asked LA, it was like, look, did Toni Braxton sign a bad record deal? And he looked over at no, they asked Babyface this, and he looked over at LA, and he was just like, yeah, she did sign a bad record deal. So that kind of got her, out of there, and she basically won her case, and she ended up winning $22 million back, which was all the money. She won all that money back, and the guy was like, "Look, you can buy everything that they took away from you. They took our Grammys and everything during this process." And she was like, he was like, "Look, you can buy your Grammys and everything back, but." You can't talk about this to anybody for 10 years, so you have to keep this low profile. So she was just like, what? So that was crazy, but she ended up getting right back into work. This was like along 99 with uh what's the name of that song? He wasn't man enough for me. Get him, girl. And just be a man about it. Go and grab your game. Of what, y'all? Okay, I'm just feeling something. Toni Braxton music just takes me to a place. But so anyway, she ends up getting pregnant during this time by Carrie. The relationship gets taken to a much much greater level, and she had an abortion the first time, but then she got pregnant with Denim, and then she had Diesel. Then later on, she found out Diesel had autism. So that was a big, revelation for her, and just a big thing. And she's done a lot for Autism Speaks and all that good stuff, as we know in real life. Let's see. One thing that was interesting to me when I was watching this was that the whole time through her bankruptcy and when she won and all this, she was still working with LaFace. She was still signed to LaFace, so she was still working with Babyface and them. But it shows a true friendship with them. Um, she ends up what was really funny to me. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but it was funny. The whole scene with Miss Evelyn and Braxton, their daddy. When they found out that he was cheating, Miss Evelyn was going off. Debbie Morgan was playing the hell out of that part. She was busting shit. I was like, I wonder if Evelyn really did that. You laid it low and you spread it wide, I guess. It was absolutely craziness. She also much later on she announced that she'll be in Vegas. So she did. She was one of the first artists to do the whole Vegas thing. Um, so that was a big thing for her, and she also had to file bankruptcy during that because her illness was becoming very bad. She ended up falling out on the floor at one point in time. Her marriage was crumbling with Carrie. It was a lot that was going on, and so she had to pay Vegas back because of the vendors and everybody who's pretty much spent their money. So she had to file bankruptcy the second time, to protect herself. But then she actually came out that she had autism and that not that she had lupus, and it affected her heart, and she was sick, and that's why she couldn't go on with certain things. Um, they also they went like real recent. Like they started they brought up the idea of how Tamar brought to the sisters about coming up with a reality show, and how Toni Braxton was against it, and how her mom had put so much pressure on her for years to help her family and be there for her sisters, and she was just like, I've always helped them and this and that, in which she has in a way. And so you know, she decided to do the show as we know, and then they brought up the whole thing of her wanting to retire from music. And then as soon as everybody like Madonna and Anita Baker, Prince, many people was reaching out to her saying don't quit music, and Babyface convinced her not to commit music, to stay with doing music, not to quit the music industry. And the minute she did that, she won a Grammy. And so they even had Diesel, her youngest son, who has autism. He was in the movie. He's adorable and about like 15 or something now. It's crazy. What a blessing. Overall, I give this movie about like out of 5 stars. I give it like a 3.5. I did enjoy it a little bit more than I enjoyed the Aaliyah movie, which is trash, of course, and the Whitney movie actually. Even though one of my favorite people, Angela Bassett, produced the Whitney movie and directed, but whatever. So you guys tell me what y'all thought about the Toni Braxton biopic on Lifetime, Unbreak My Heart. I thought it was really good. Um, certain things that could have been better, but I mean, hey, what do you expect? But shouts out to Toni Braxton. She is a legend. So yeah. Bye.